Hi, Shanna here. So I'm so excited. Today I'm bringing you all of my AIP travel tips. So I've been on the AIP for a year and a half. I'm in the re-intros. I was strict elimination for 10 months. I have traveled a number of times on the AIP. It is tricky, but it is 100% doable. In 2019 alone, so in the past it's been less than 6 months, I've traveled 7 times already, strictly AIP. So I'm bringing you all my tips. So AIP travel tips before you even go anywhere. It's so important that you communicate. If you're traveling with your spouse, he may not understand that you can't travel the way that you've always traveled in the past, that things have changed, that you need to think and plan more carefully about how you travel. Remember, he loves you, he supports you, but he may not know how best to support you while traveling. So it's important that you lovingly but firmly communicate what your needs are and how he can help you, how he can support you. Also, if you're traveling with friends or with other loved ones, they may not understand why you eat the way you eat, why you live the way you live. So again, it's up to you to communicate to them, you know, these are my boundaries, these are my needs, I'm so excited for this trip, but this is kind of what I need to do so I can stay healthy and so that we can have so much fun and enjoy each other. Okay, next tip, when making travel plans, think about what time of day is best to leave. Maybe you've always left at 4 a.m. to get that early start and to get to where you're going, but maybe that's not the healthiest choice now. Maybe it's better if you make sure that you get a good night's sleep in, that you get your hydration started in the morning, that you get 1 or 2 solid AIP meals in, that you have a relaxed morning routine, that you can use the bathroom before you go, and then maybe it's better if you leave later in the morning or early afternoon. If that's not possible, just think about what you can do the night prior to your trip so that you can make that early morning start as smoothly as possible. Things like filling up your water bottle, getting your supplements ready if you take those, getting your meals ready, getting a good night's sleep, so I'm getting to bed early, things like that. So next trip, before you even go, plan early, plan. So gone are the days where you can, pack up and leave and just figure out meals on the fly, right? On the AIP, there's no special AIP ferry that will magically appear and say, here's your AIP food, right? So it's so important that ahead of time, you plan your meals, your snacks, your hydrations, your supplements, and that makes it easier to communicate to your loved ones and your spouse and your travel buddies what your needs are so that they know, hey, look, I'm covered. This is what I need, but I'm covered, or this is what I need help with, or I looked at these restaurants, I can eat here, so that you can communicate. So planning ahead is going to cut down on stress. We know that stress is a huge autoimmune trigger, right? And so cutting down on that stress is really going to help you feel your best. Also, always pack more AIP snacks or meals than you think you need. I cannot stress that enough. So many times I think I'm only going to pack what I need, and then one day I end up hungrier because we're more active, we're out doing something, and I wish I'd packed more. So I've learned to always pack extra AIP meals and snacks than I think I need. Okay, next tip, before you even leave, think about your return home. Chances are you are not going to want to rush off to the grocery store to buy a bunch of food. Maybe prep some AIP meals to have in the freezer, or make sure you have some, staples in the fridge, or make sure you have AIP snacks or easy AIP stuff to make on hand. That way you're not pressured to run off to the store the minute that you get home, to start cooking and food prepping the minute that you get home. Chances are you're going to want to rest and recover. Okay, so next up, travel tips with a kitchen. So if you're traveling with a kitchen, in my mind, that's the easiest way to travel AIP. I try to book hotels or via VRBOs with kitchens. If I'm visiting family, I call them ahead of time and I kind of explain. Most of them know by now my eating situation, but I just kind of explain, is it okay if I use your kitchen? It's worked out beautifully in the past. Okay, so if you're traveling with the kitchen, you have a few options. Number one, you can prepare your AIP meals ahead of time and freeze them in some like glass snapware. And then you can travel with them in a cooler. And then when you're on vacation, you're just reheating them. And if you're traveling with your husband and kids, you can either bring food for them, or you can obviously just get them food out if they're not AIP. So that's one option. Another option is to just grocery shop wherever you travel to and just prepare the meals there. So if I do that, I like to keep it real simple. I don't prepare a bunch of recipes. I just keep it simple with the protein, veggies, and top off with like a fruit. I typically buy smoothie ingredients. Those are easy. I just keep it real simple. I do pack some staples like my favorite AIP seasonings and coconut oil, olive oil. Those things tend to be expensive if you buy them. So if you're able to pack them, I do like to pack things like that. Another option that you could do is a meal service like Paleo on the go, where they have 100% compliant AIP meals, and you can order them to be delivered either to your home and you can bring them with you on vacation, or you can order them to be delivered to wherever you're going on vacation, like a hotel or a condo or visiting family, and then you just reheat them. So my favorite option is, well, the first option where I'm making my meals ahead of time at home and I freeze them. And I don't do like separate meals just for vacation. I usually, the week or two prior, I start making extra of whatever, like I double recipes, and then I take that and then I take leftovers and I freeze them instead of eating them for a meal later the next day. So that's my favorite thing. Or you can do a combination of all of the above. You can bring some meals already prepped. You can shop and make some meals there. You can do some Paleo on the go or something like that. So those are my tips for if you're traveling with the kitchen. Okay, so travel tips if you're traveling without a kitchen. It is trickier, but it is 100% possible. I've done it a number of times. I still like to try to get a hotel that has a mini fridge. If you're flying there, you could hit up the grocery store, the Whole Foods, grab some prepped fruit, some raw veggies ready to eat, some salads, and put them in there. If you're, if it's a road trip, you could pack a cooler and then transfer them to the mini fridge. Or if they don't have a mini fridge, I've just kept a cooler and then I refill the ice with the ice machine. So that's an option. Also, so if you're traveling without a kitchen, usually you have to eat out, right? So eating out tips. I try to plan where I'm going to eat out ahead of time. I Google things like paleo restaurants in San Diego or wherever I'm going, or gluten-free restaurants in wherever I'm going. And that way, at least I know that, well, the restaurant is gluten-free. That's not always possible. I try to always clearly communicate with my server and or the chef that I have these food allergies, I always ask what oils they're using, if they use butter. I talk about the seasonings, that type of stuff. So it can be trickier. Grass-fed burger joints are usually a great place. They usually have a paleo burger option that can be modified. Otherwise, if I'm eating at a restaurant, I try to find a restaurant with a menu that has like proteins and veggies and things I can mix and match. Usually restaurants are really good about letting you, once they know that you have food allergies, they're really good about letting you modify and mix and match and just telling them exactly what you need, exactly what you want. So eating out is possible, but just make sure you're communicating about the cross-contamination issue, and that when possible that you're planning ahead so that you don't get somewhere and you're stressed like, oh my gosh, there's nowhere I can eat. If you get stuck in that situation, I found that just going to like a health food store, a grocery store, or Whole Foods is a great option. I found AIP compliant rotisserie chickens without any seasonings on them before. Salads are easy to modify, easy to build. Like I said, raw veggies. There's some lunch meats that are AIP compliant. I try to stay away from lunch meats, but if I'm in a bind, that works. There's things like Epic bars. So there are options. It is possible. So other options, if you're traveling and you do not have access to a kitchen, Wild Zora makes some awesome freeze-dried meals. They're great for like camping, but I take them if I'm traveling to a hotel that doesn't have where I won't have a kitchen. And so they have two flavors that are AIP compliant. I'll link them. I did a whole blog post on AIP travel tips. I'll link it below. I'll link the Wild Zora meals. There's two flavors. You just add water. So I've eaten those in hotels before too. They're awesome for that. I've even eaten one in Disneyland. So I like to take them if I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find somewhere I could eat. So another option, if you're traveling without a kitchen, you can make your AIP meals at home that you don't mind eating cold. Like, do you guys have those? I do. I have like a few AIP things that I'm like, oh, this is so good cold. Like Graced and Enthused has these honey chicken dippers. I love them straight out of the fridge cold. So like those would work for me. There's hashes that I don't mind eating cold that I'll bring. And so I've done that before. Or there's these mini portable ovens that you can get and take with you to hotels too to heat up your food. I have not gotten one yet. I'm going to be getting one for a trip I have coming up, so I'll let you know at some point how that goes. But yeah, don't be afraid to eat your favorite AIP stuff cold either. So, and another option is to have the Paleo on the go or other AIP meal service deliver the meals directly to your hotel also. And you could use a mini portable oven for heating those up too, or if there's a microwave, obviously it will taste a lot better if it's heated up in an oven, but that would probably work, I'm guessing too. Okay, so my favorite AIP travel snacks. If you're gonna pack snacks for while you're traveling, I'm not a big AIP snacker at home usually, but I do have some that I love. So it's things like Paleo Puffs are really good. They're by Lesser Evil. Laughing Giraffe, salted caramel snackaroons are amazing. Those I just was introduced to those last week. They're amazing. So those are good. Of course, Paleo Angel Power Balls are good. I love the vanilla cupcake flavor. Wild Zora, I love their meat and veggie bars and apple and pork flavor. Epic bars, they have some AIP compliant flavors. I like the bison. What else do I like? I love just like raw veggies and fruit. I don't eat too many raw veggies usually, but I like to have those when I'm traveling, and fruit. So lots of AIP snacks that are great for traveling. Word of warning on the AIP snack foods, just pay attention to how you feel. Try not to eat too many. If you're noticing that you're not feeling good. I know that I personally do not feel that great when I start eating too many AIP snack foods. I feel best when I stick to whole nutrient dense foods. But with that said, when traveling, I do use the AIP snack foods, and I love me some cassava chips. I didn't even mention those. Artisan Tropic, I think that's the brand, has some amazing cassava chips. I have been known to almost eat the whole bag. I have to be careful with those. Okay, so AIP travel tips for air travel. You want to make sure you stay hydrated. Hydration is so important. Symptoms of dehydration can be mild and mimic autoimmune symptoms, so be careful about not getting dehydrated. I know nobody wants to go to the bathroom on the airplane, but it's so important for autoimmune health and just wellness in general that we stay hydrated. Traveling can be very dehydrating, so hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Also, you can pack your AIP meals and snacks with you. Just make sure you clear it with TSA as long as you're like upfront about it. I haven't had any issues with that at all. Also, you want to make sure you're standing up and stretching and, walking during layovers on the plane. If it's a long plane ride, make sure you're still moving. And then also avoid red eyes when possible. So sleep is an important part of the autoimmune protocol too, right? And when we're traveling, it can kind of go by the wayside, but it really is so important that we are focusing on sleep and avoiding those red eyes when possible. I know I can no longer do them. It's bad. So be careful about red eyes. So AIP Road Trips, make sure again that you're staying hydrated. That if you're eating out, that you're planning your stops ahead of time. On a road trip, sometimes we don't realize that there's literally nowhere to stop to eat on some stretches, and it's going to be even harder to find AIP. So make sure that you're either planning stops ahead of time or that you're packing your own AIP meals. That's what I prefer to do. I use thermoses a lot. A little tip with the thermos is to fill it up with hot water for a few minutes prior and then dump it out. Then add in your heated up food. It'll just stay warmer for longer. I always pack a cooler with extra food too. Also, be sure to stand up and stretch and walk around on those stops. That's going to help you feel your best too. AIP sleep when traveling. I like to pack certain things so that I make sure I sleep really well. My husband is very understanding with me. At first, when I started packing all this stuff, he's like, "Really, Shanna? Like, seriously?" And now he knows that I just sleep really well that way, and then I'm healthier for our trip. So now he's totally supportive and he's understanding now. But I like to pack a noise machine. I'll link to my favorite noise machine. If you don't have space for a noise machine, you can just use an app on your phone, like a white noise app, or on Apple Music, they have like a white noise song, and put it on repeat. Just make sure that if you do that, your call and text alerts are turned off because you don't want to be woken up by those. So a noise machine, eye mask. I have my favorite silky perfect eye mask. I'll link to that too. I love to bring my pillow, and I love to bring a fuzzy blanket. I love the blanket for while I'm traveling, and I just love having it there for when I'm resting or when I'm sleeping. I just love having it. So whatever you love, whatever you like to have when you sleep, I encourage you to pack it when you travel if possible. It's just going to help your sleep and help you feel the best that you can. Okay, so I saved my biggest travel tip for last, and that is to take a deep breath, let go, and just enjoy your trip. I know that it can be so scary to travel with chronic illness on the autoimmune protocol. I know our minds can fill with endless what ifs, but it is so important that we learn to lean into that and to let go of that fear and to have the courage to travel anyway. Every trip that we take, it will get easier. It will go smoother. Things that seem so difficult and impossible when we first start traveling on the AIP or with chronic illness will become second nature to us. And I know that we can find so much joy as we learn to travel with chronic illness and we learn to travel on the AIP. So I'm sending you so much love and support. You've totally got this.